everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin and this is actually my very first video on this channel, and today I'm going to be talking about the Disney College Program phone interview. So I'm actually going to be showing some clips from my phone interview with the Disney College Program recruiter so that you guys can kind of get a better idea of what the phone interview is going to look like and the types of questions that they're going to ask, and you'll be able to see my answers to those questions too. I also just wanted to say that while I was accepted for the Disney College Program for the Disneyland program for fall of 2018, my answers were not perfect for all of these questions, so I'm going to come on throughout the video and just kind of tell you guys what I wish that I had done differently and kind of just critique my answers a little bit so that you guys can maybe focus on those different things and make sure that your answers are how you want them to be. Also, I noticed watching this video back that I have some really weird face expressions and I make some weird faces during the phone interview, so watch out for that, I guess. I also just wanted to say that while I did do some preparation in terms of the phone interview, I didn't do as much as a lot of people. I've seen a lot of videos that other people have done a lot more preparation than I did, but I did definitely write out some of the things that I did want to mention in my answers, and then I also wrote out my top 3 role choices and why I wanted those roles. I think it's really important to make sure that you're not just listing your top 3 role choices, but that you're explaining why you would be a good fit for them. And then these are actually my original phone interview notes. So as you can see, I kind of made a bulleted list so that I could kind of talk freely without sounding scripted. And I listed my top 3 role responsibilities in case the recruiter asked about those, and also why I wanted those roles. Again, I think it's really important to make sure that you don't just tell your recruiter, hey, I want to be in attractions. You explain why you think you would be good at attractions. I hope that this video will help you guys better prepare for your first Disney College Program phone interviews. It's really not as scary as it sounds, I promise. Just go in with a positive mindset and have fun with it, because this is your chance to work for Disney and that should be really exciting. So let's get started. I'm great, how are you? Good. Perfect. Yes, this is great. So I know that I didn't film myself saying hello at the very beginning of the phone interview, but I think this is a really important part in the phone interview because this is kind of where you set the stage for the whole phone interview and what your attitude is going to be like. So make sure that you answer in a very professional way and make sure that you have a smile on your face, because believe it or not, you can hear smiles over the phone. I'm sure you've heard that before, and it's really true. You can hear whether someone is excited and happy over the phone even without seeing their face. So make sure that you answer it in a professional and happy way with a smile on your face. I have, yes. So my freshman year of college, I lived in a dorm, and it was a triple actually, so I was living with 2 other girls. And then my sophomore year, I lived with 2 girls in a house, so we all shared a house, but we had our own bedrooms. And then this year, I'm actually living in my sorority, and I share a room with 1 other girl. So definitely had that experience. Well, so I, of course, like I'm sure most of the candidates, I absolutely love Disney. I've been going to the parks since I was young, and it's kind of, since I've become like a business student, I've definitely developed like not only a love for Disney, going to the parks and everything, but also just for the company in general. So I've had the chance throughout some of my classes to do projects on Disney and learn more about the company from, like an internal standpoint, and just like how amazing the, business operations of Disney are and that side of Disney. And so it's definitely just kind of made me really want to understand the inner workings of the company. And I think the best way to do that would be obviously working from the ground up. And then additionally, one of my big career aspirations is to work for Disney in the future. I would absolutely love to, work in marketing and do advertising for Disney. And so I think it would be really cool to be able to say that I actually worked in the parks at one point and kind of worked my way up through the company. So yeah, I kind of want to get like in the door at Disney, I guess.
So definitely kind of starting at the very beginning, my experience working in a restaurant, that was kind of like that was my first job. And that was my first time where I really had to kind of use my communication skills and have the ability to talk to customers and that kind of thing. So there I kind of, gained that base of, working with people and working with customers, answering the telephone, memorizing menu options and that kind of thing. And then moving on from there, I've definitely gained a lot of like organization skills and kind of like creativity, I guess, in some of my marketing internships, and definitely teamwork as well. So throughout some of the projects that I've worked on in school, most all of them are working on teams. So I've definitely kind of gotten the ability to work with groups of people and get to know people and lead teams as well. And so, yeah, I think that those are some of my main skills, I guess, that I've taken away from those experiences. Well, so I know that guest services, of course, is a very, popular role that a lot of people want. And I think, like, the biggest thing I think that attracts people is just the idea of being able to solve people's problems, I guess, in a way that's, like, making magic for them. That's definitely what's most attractive to me, is that it's like, I feel like guest services is a lot of times where people come when they are having an issue. And so being able to kind of turn that issue around and make it into one of those like magical moments, that we all experience in the parks would be super fun for me. And then also I'm really extroverted and I love talking to people and working with people. And I think definitely part of the guest services assistant role is to work with customers and really have that, one-on-one, even more than some of the other roles, one-on-one like experience with different customers throughout the day and really getting to know them through your conversations. So I think that would be a lot of fun. And then also I saw in the responsibilities that a lot of times there's kind of stressful situations. And so I am definitely very good at handling a lot of stress and a lot of information coming at me. I have just a very like analytical, organized mindset. And so I think I would definitely do well in those, hard situations with customers.
So one thing about this answer that I really didn't like that I said was that I answered the question by saying, well, guest services is the role that a lot of people want, and I shouldn't be undermining myself like that. I should be talking about why I would be great at guest services and why this is a great position for me, rather than talking about how I know it's a really sought-after role. So I definitely wish that I had focused a lot more on me instead of kind of generalizing the whole fact that that's a popular role. And again, kind of just going off of that, just make sure that you're really confident in yourself and your skills and making sure that you're focusing the phone interview on yourself. Even if you've heard stories of other people or the reputation of a certain role, don't talk about those things. Don't talk about the program in general. Talk about why you think that you specifically, given the skills that you have, would be good at that role. And I think that'll really stand out to the recruiters.
Well, like I said, I think that whenever a customer comes with, or a guest comes to you with some kind of a bad situation, that's like almost one of the best things that can happen, because that's your chance to turn that situation around and make it into something magical for them. So I think definitely the first thing to do in that kind of situation is to listen to the customer and let them vent, because obviously you weren't there during the different issues that they were having throughout the day. And so the reason that they're coming to you is specifically to vent to you. And then after that, just anything that you can do, any kind of privileges that you're given as an employee to be able to turn that situation around for them, whether that's, oh, can I help you make a dinner reservation in a restaurant that's full, or, offer you a fast pass to a ride tomorrow because I know that Space Mountain broke down, anything like that, or even just, advice, like if the fireworks were canceled, say, oh, well, you know what, maybe that's a good thing because tomorrow I can tell you about this perfect spot that would be even better than any viewing area that, you would have found tonight. So just maybe, keeping a positive mindset for them and turning the situation around with any privileges that you have, just to make that magical experience for them. And then the customer ends up walking away saying, oh my gosh, like I had a bad experience today, but now it's just been made into this like magical memory, and that's the kind of thing that they'll remember.
So with this answer, one thing that I just wanted to point out is that if you know a lot about the Disney resorts and the Disney parks, do not be afraid to talk about it. If you know that there are certain special firework viewing areas that are better than others, or other special tips like that, like don't be afraid to incorporate those into your answers, because you're applying for a position at Disney, so they want to see that you love Disney yourself and that you already know some of these things coming into the training. So it's definitely not a bad thing to talk about your knowledge of Disney or give examples that show your knowledge of Disney. Kind of going off of that too, I personally tried my hardest during the phone interview to use the word guests when I was talking about customers, and to use the word cast members when I was talking about myself being a cast member potentially in the future. So I think it shows kind of just a knowledge of the company in general to use those types of terms. So again, don't be afraid to use your knowledge of Disney and even of, working for Disney to incorporate those things into your answers, because really it just shows that you've done your research and that you love the company. The last thing I wanted to say with my answer to this question was that I did get a little bit choked up there in the middle. I think that was just because I really wasn't taking deep breaths and I wasn't focusing on my answer. I was like not breathing. So make sure that you're breathing clearly and answering slowly and taking time to answer the questions if you need it. That is totally fine during a phone interview. Don't think that a little bit of silence is awkward. It's actually good if you're just getting your thoughts together. I actually even kept a little note on my desk that said, talk slowly, breathe, just to remind myself to make sure that I was taking my time during the phone interview and answering the questions in the best way possible by thinking about it before I talked. So I think if that helps you, then whatever works for you, but that definitely helped me to kind of remember, take a deep breath and just answer clearly like you would if you're talking to a friend.
So I guess this isn't like a super complicated system, but it's similar to the ticketing system, I guess, because it's buying tickets. So when I was working for the Master Builders Association as a marketing intern, one of my roles was to work with the events department. So we put on lots of events for the different members of the association. And so one of my roles was to help kind of sort out all of the ticketing and working with all of the members to make sure that they had the right tickets and kind of explain the pricing to them, because a lot of times it was a little bit confusing. So one of the times that we had sort of a confusing pricing structure was when we were hosting a golf tournament. So you could either buy your ticket as an individual or you could buy it for a group of 4. But it was confusing because if you bought it for a group of 4, you had to specifically put in the notes who the people on your team were, so that we made sure that there weren't people buying a ticket for themselves and they were also on a team. So we had a lot of members calling in that were confused. Oh, I bought a ticket, but so-and-so said he put me on his team, so how do I pay for that? So it was just, we basically all, the teams on the events department made sure that we all understood what the pricing structure was. So whoever answered the phone was able to explain that to the members and make sure that they could get it sorted out through our system. So just making sure that everyone was on the same page and that we could communicate that to the members made a big difference.
So one thing that I did want to say about my answer to this question was that I really liked that I was able to kind of tell a story about my experience rather than kind of just like listing it like I would on a resume, because that's the great part about an interview, a phone interview, is that you're actually able to talk to the recruiter like a person rather than them just reading your skills off of a piece of paper. So I was able to kind of walk her through and let her visualize me in that role rather than just kind of explaining that I did it and that was it. So kind of going off of that, if you have any kind of experiences that you've listed on your Disney College Program application that you think that you can tell in a story form, make sure that you do when that applies to the questions that they're asking. Make sure that you're telling the story and, bringing yourself to life off of the paper and bringing those skills into a story, because, that's what Disney does anyway. They tell stories. So make sure that you can tell stories about your experiences, and I think that'll help relay those skills to the recruiter in a way that's different from your resume.
Well, of course, I think the reason that a lot of people come to Disneyland is because they want to ride the rides. So being part of that magical experience, I guess, of, letting people on the rides and, sorting the lines and everything would definitely be a lot of fun. And then additionally, I think that might be a place where there's a lot of stress in the guests coming through the park, because that's, of course, where you are having to wait in line a lot. So just being that, I guess, positivity and, magical person that interacts with the guests at those locations would be a lot of fun. And those are heavily trafficked areas too, so I would love the guest interactions that I would get, working at those attractions. Well, so unfortunately, my favorite attraction was California Screamin'. Well, I guess that's in California Adventure. But I'm super excited about the Incredibles roller coaster. Like that, I love the Incredibles, and I'm super excited about the movie. So I think it'll be fun to see them turn the Paradise Pier into the Pixar everything. So I know. I know, it's crazy. And I heard that they're supposed to open it this summer, or at least some of it, which is just like, wow. Like, very fast turnaround. But yeah, that'll be fun to see. Well, I know I've definitely been there myself because I remember like specifically wanting to ride Tower of Terror when I was younger and not being able to because I wasn't tall enough. But I think the best way to handle that kind of situation is to, first of all, make sure that the little girl understands that it's not, anything personal towards her. It's just the fact that it's for her safety, of course. Make sure that the whole party understands that. And then from there, I know that there's also a way that you can do like a rider switch pass where the if there's two adults in the party, they can both go on the ride. So definitely offering that to the adults in the party. And then also just reminding them that, oh, this is a chance to get to come back to Disney when you're older, and how much fun will it be when you're able to ride the ride when you're older, and you'll think back on this time and it'll be all of this excitement has built up to where you can finally ride the ride. So just trying to keep the positive energy and make sure that they understand, of course, that it's for their safety. It's nothing personal at all. So definitely my top choice would be the guest services assistant role. Kind of like we were talking, I just really love the idea of the fact that that's kind of where people bring their problems, and that would be the chance to make magical moments, because the reason that I want to work for Disney is exactly that, is that, like we were talking with the study, that Disney is known for that, for turning situations around and making customers happy with the amazing, special circumstance type things that they can do. And then after that, I would definitely say that the vacation planner role would be my second. I really love the idea of being able to like bring people's vacations to life through selling them tickets, and just being able to kind of like listen to different customers' stories and the different like needs that they want through their vacation, and being able to, sell them the certain ticket that would fit that need. And then my third choice would be like a retail sales clerk. I think it would be really fun to get to work in the park and work with the retail and the merchandise. And I think that's also a place where a lot of people come to, buy different gifts and souvenirs and memories and things like that. So it'd be a lot of fun to get to help people choose those things.
So I didn't actually show you guys my conversation with the recruiter when I was asking her questions at the very end of the interview, but I'm sure you've heard this before. Make sure that you do have some questions prepared for your recruiter that kind of just shows your interest in the program and that you've really prepared for this interview. So the two questions that I asked what kind of networking opportunities I would have during the program with Disney executives, because I really want to work for Disney in the future in their corporate marketing side. And then I also asked who taught the classes at Disney University. So I was wondering if it was, Disney professionals that teach the classes, or if they have specific teachers at Disney University. So it was really fun, and that was a great part of the interview, to kind of have more of a conversation with my recruiter rather than just like a question and answer. It was way more informal, and it's a great time to kind of just show your personality and get some questions answered. Well, thank you guys for watching my very first video on my channel. I'm going to be posting videos throughout my entire college program about my experience and all of the fun things that I'm doing. I'm super excited for my program to start. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I'll try to get to those questions. And good luck with your phone interviews.